Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here with Joseph Warren, a financial planner with Financial Planning HQ. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about your business and how they can contact you?
Yeah, business is called Financial Planning HQ. We are pure financial planning. That means we just charge one clear, transparent fee for planning, advice, a strategy, and accountability. And we just, really what it is about having that intentionality, that purpose before every financial decision you make. So you're going in the direction you want to go. That's how I would sum it up. Yeah.
And how can they contact you?
Call me at 210-748-6699, or you can email me at Joseph, Joseph, at financialhq, as in headquarters.net.
Okay, so we're talking about legacy today, how to leave a legendary legacy. And before the break, I was talking about how to leave a passive legacy when you say, I'll just leave whatever's left to whoever's there with no real purpose for it. Mm-hmm. Another type of legacy that I've learned about over the years that people talk about is how we make people feel. Like I just told that story about my grandfather on my dad's side and my grandmother on my mom's side. Mm-hmm. Those were stories about their character and their values and how I felt about it. Mm-hmm. And so those are more just memories that I have of them. Yeah. And when I pass away, that memory of them is probably going to be gone. Yeah. Unless my kids listen to these radio recordings.
Yeah, this is a part of legacy, right?
That's right, yeah. I hope that someday they learn the value of me talking about the law on the radio.
I'm sure they will.
So, and you told a story about how your grandmother was like leading you to do good, positive things in your life. Mm-hmm. But we could take that one step further and be more intentional about it. I had a guest a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a couple of months ago, and he said that one tradition that his family had was that they had an agreement mm-hmm. that they would pray for one another.
Wow.
They would have these family meetings mm-hmm. about an agreement to pray for one another. And I thought that was so powerful.
Yeah.
And so that reminded me that family traditions and values are part of our legacy. Mm. You may just be passing those down as an accident without intention or purpose. But some people do that on purpose, like Jacob mm-hmm. in the Bible. Okay. He was on his deathbed, and he blessed his kids and told them what he expected of them.
Yeah. That's so huge. I love that. I like that. I think that foundation of faith is so important mm-hmm. because I was thinking about this recently because I have a kid on the way. And I think that prayer is so important. I'm thinking about it's important to sit down as a family, turn off the TV, pray before meals.
Right.
Because if you don't have that, if you don't have, that religion up there, then it's basically being raised by pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at society nowadays, I just don't think that's a good idea.
Well, and it's dangerous because the ideas of pop culture are not even good for humanity.
Yeah, it glamorizes being an alcoholic, gambling,
right.
dangerous stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's not good for survival. If you think of a fictional world where animals are discussing about how to further their species, mm-hmm. I don't think that they would do the things that we do.
Yeah. They wouldn't be watching The Simpsons while they eat. No. They talk to each other, right? Talk about big ideas.
Right. How to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jacob's blessings led led a Jewish culture of writing things down. These are the lessons that I've learned over my life that I also want you to learn. And sometimes we call those written lessons legacy letters. In the Jewish culture, sometimes they're known as ethical wills. Instead of leaving a fistful of cash, you leave a document that says what the ethics and values of the family are.
Yeah. That's so cool. You see that sometimes like a family crest, but I think that's something that you don't see as much anymore, and I love it.
Yeah, after I studied the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, I did a mission statement for the family. And we had a meeting, me and my wife and the kids, and talked about our values.
Yeah.
Do we want this to be a relaxing place to hang out with one another? Or do we want to yell and scream and fight with each other?
Yeah, like a Wall Street boiler room.
Right.
Type of environment.
Yeah. So you might think about doing that once your child learns how to talk.
It's cool when you're starting a family because you think about these traditions, right?
Right.
It's just what type, the faith, how we're going to raise our kids. Are we going to let them make mistakes? Are we going to try to prevent them from making mistakes? Or maybe like a warning. That's something we've been talking about recently is like you warn them once. Then if it's not super dangerous, let them try so that they learn to heed the warnings.
Yeah. I saw previews for a TV show about different styles of parenting.
Yeah.
This is all stuff that I didn't know about when I became a parent.
Yeah.
We were sort of helicopter parents for a long time.
I got to watch out for that because one of my parents was, and I worry. So you don't want to, I think you don't want to pass on the legacy of worrying about everything as well, right? So it's like your way of being is also a thing that your kids will look to.
Yeah. My middle son, I worried about a lot because he always wanted to be outside doing dangerous things. Like he wanted to climb trees, and that was just horrifying to me. Yeah. Like if you fall, we're going to have to go to the hospital.
Yeah. Man.
But everything turned out good with him so far. He did fall out of a tree one time when we were hunting. He wanted to be in the tree so that he could watch the hogs come by, and then for some reason he wanted to come down from the tree. Well, one of the branches that had helped him get up broke on his way down, and he did fall. I don't know if it was 12, 15, or 20 feet, but it was very scary. He turned out okay. He didn't get injured, but that's just one of those situations with having kids. Sometimes they get hurt.
Yep, and they push boundaries too, and it's like a lot of things to learn. I think you learn a lot, I'm sure, through raising kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about attitude and family traditions and values. One thing I like to ask is, what do you hope that your beneficiaries will achieve by receiving an inheritance from you?
Yeah. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you think of anybody that you've met that did have something that they wanted their beneficiaries to achieve?
Starting a business, I see that with a lot of entrepreneurs. I feel like people want their kids to do what they did. So a lot of it, if it's a government worker, you want them to be a government worker. But I've had some people who are just like, I want my kids to be happy and to pursue something that's meaningful to them with this money.
Yeah, well, I would tell them to write that down.
Yeah.
Even if it's on a scrap of paper.
Yeah.
Because their children will read that over and over again.
Yeah. I've been seeing that, like, even once a year, writing, highlights for your kids and things you learned. And
yeah.
I think having that tradition is just so huge. I mean, the whole Old Testament, right? It's like this written history. It's like,
right.
Have your family, be intentional with the things you're teaching your family. That's the reason we for our clients, we teach them, their kids, how to invest. We'll have money masterminds based on Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and different books on like how the rich manage their money, how the middle class manage their money, how poor people manage their money. And yeah.
Those are great lessons. Yeah. I saw on Facebook recently a board game advertised by Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
The cash flow game, yeah.
Have you seen it?
I have. I played it before. You can play it for free online. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, in a similar fashion, I did find another game by the guy that wrote Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. There's a board game for that too.
I did not know that. I love that book.
It's sort of complicated, the game.
Yeah.
My family and my sister-in-law's family tried to play it one time. It takes a long time. You have to be prepared for that.
Yeah. Sort of like trying to think of an equivalent, but like Settlers of Catan or something where it takes a...
Well, even Monopoly takes a long time to play.
Yeah. You just reminded me of when I graduated from elementary school, my parents got me a copy of the book Think and Grow Rich.
Really?
And I still have it. And I remember when I graduated, I was, I wanted to go play Pokemon. I didn't care about the book at all.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that over time I kind of grew into it. And I like that they challenged me with that book when I was leaving
At
elementary
12
school.
years old?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't find that book until I was probably 25 or older.
Yeah.
But it's a good book.
Yeah.
Some of the things that people have told me over the years that they hope their children or their beneficiaries will achieve is an education.
Mm-hmm.
They want their kids to be educated.
Yeah.
And so use this money to make sure that your kids and my grandkids are educated, that they go to college or technical school or get your certification in this, that, or the other.
Yeah. That's something you see a lot of, and there's many different ways to plan for that, including making it tax-free.
Talk about that.
Yep. So like a lot of times 529 plans. Sometimes people will even use life insurance to do that, cash value life insurance. Mm-hmm. Basically to save money tax-free as long as it's used for college in a 529 plan. You can use it for tuition, books, things like that.
I think that there's a new law that says if you don't use all the money in the 529 plan for education, it can be used for retirement. Interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. A lot of times I've seen people in the past before that law, they would just give it to other kids. And you kind of pass it because you never know if the kid's going to go to like Harvard or they're just going to go to trade school.
Right.
And there's different arguments nowadays for like what's the ROI or return on investment that you get for college.
Yeah.
Depending on where you go. So, yeah.
Well, for me, I'm less concerned about the return on investment. I just want to have better conversations with my kids.
I think that's
so. I want them to learn something, anything.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't go to college, if they would just go to the library and read books.
Yeah.
But college is a more organized way of presenting the information.
Yep. Learning all those important skills and just how to think. I think that's the main thing.
Right. That's what they did in law school. Everybody thinks that we go to law school to learn the law, but really we go there to learn the Socratic method.
Interesting, yeah.
Which is how to understand something by question and answer.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the saints and sinners of legacy, so stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.